What if the most powerful move you could make was no move at all? No late-night texts fueled by whiskey and regret. No meticulously crafted social media posts designed to elicit a reaction. No final, desperate conversation to seek an explanation that will never truly satisfy. What if, instead of all that noise, you offered only a profound, deafening silence? Not the silence of a man who is broken, licking his wounds and waiting for a sign. No. This is a different kind of silence. This is the silence of a man who has made a decision. A man who has stopped pleading his case to a deaf jury. A man who has finally understood that his value is not up for debate. You are here because you feel a void. You gave your presence, your attention, your loyalty, your very essence. And she took it for granted. She grew comfortable in the warmth of your consistency, assuming it was an infinite resource, a flame that would burn for her no matter how little fuel she offered. She was mistaken. And now, she is about to learn the cold, hard lesson of absence. This script is not a quick dose of hollow motivation. It is not a guide on how to play manipulative games to win her back. Let's be brutally clear from the outset, the goal is not her return. The goal is your rebirth. We are here to dismantle the very foundation of your need for her validation and replace it with a bedrock of self-sovereignty, forged in the principles of a 2,000-year-old philosophy built for warriors, emperors, and thinkers, Stoicism. The Stoics, Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus, were masters of the inner realm. They understood that the external world is a chaotic, unpredictable storm, and the only true sanctuary, the only true source of power, lies within our own minds. They teach us not to suppress emotion, but to master it. Not to avoid hardship, but to use it as a crucible to forge character. Today, we apply this ancient wisdom to one of the most common yet profound human experiences, the pain of being left. We will transform your silence from a passive state of hurt into an active, calculated, and transformative force. You will learn that when you stop talking, you are not just withholding words, you are retracting your energy, your focus, your validation. You are pulling your entire universe back from her orbit. This withdrawal creates a vacuum, and into that vacuum, her mind will rush. She expects noise. She expects arguments, begging, anger, the familiar drama that reaffirms her importance in your life. When she is met with a calm, unbreachable wall of silence, her script is flipped. She is left alone, not with your reactions, but with her own actions. And this is where her battle begins. The guilt, the doubt, the regret, they will start to build, brick by painful brick, in the quiet empire of the space you once occupied. But this is merely a byproduct. While she is grappling with the echo of her choices, you will be in the forge. You will be using that same silence to rebuild. You will be grinding, evolving, lifting, building. You are not simply waiting for her to feel the weight of her decision. You are becoming a man who is so grounded in his own purpose that her regret becomes irrelevant. Your silence is not emptiness. It is pressure. A slow, steady, crushing pressure that breaks down illusions. Over the course of this journey together, we will explore this path in its entirety. We will deconstruct the anatomy of this formidable silence, we will rebuild your mindset on the Stoic foundation of the dichotomy of control, we will dismantle the need for external validation, and we will chart a course for your silent reconstruction. This is your declaration of independence. You are not trying to win her back. You are winning yourself back. So, let her watch your silence. Let her wonder. Let her spiral. Let her guilt expand until it consumes the space she chose to empty. Not because you wish her suffering, but because you demand peace. And as the Stoics knew so well, true peace only comes when you stop speaking to those who refuse to listen. 1. The anatomy of Stoic silence, a weapon of presence. To the untrained mind, silence is merely the absence of sound. It is a passive state, a retreat, a sign of weakness or defeat. But to the Stoic, and to the man who chooses to walk this path, silence is one of the most active, potent, and strategic tools in the entire arsenal of human interaction. We are not talking about the petulant silence of someone who is sulking, nor the fearful silence of one who is intimidated. We are talking about a conscious, deliberate, and controlled withdrawal of communication, a fortress built not of stone, but of resolve. Let us first dissect why this form of silence is so profoundly unsettling to the one who has wronged you. Human beings, especially in our hyper-connected modern world, are creatures of feedback. We act, and we subconsciously expect a reaction. This call-and response is the fundamental rhythm of social dynamics. When a person makes a decision to leave a relationship, to betray a trust, or to act disrespectfully, they are, on some level, prepared for the consequences they can predict: anger, sadness, pleading, confrontation. These reactions, however painful, are familiar. They are part of the script. More importantly, they feed the ego. Your anger tells her, "I still care enough to be enraged." Your pleading tells her, "You are so valuable that I am willing to sacrifice my dignity to keep you." Your dramatic social media posts tell her, "My world is still revolving around you." Every one of these reactions, while seemingly a display of your pain, is actually a gift to her. It is the gift of relevance. It confirms her power over your emotional state. It assures her that she remains the central character in your story. Stoic silence denies her this gift. When you offer nothing, no angry calls, no sad texts, no public displays of heartbreak, you rip the script to shreds. You refuse to play your assigned role. You are not providing the expected feedback. This abrupt cut in the rhythm of call and response creates a profound and jarring psychological dissonance. Her mind, expecting a reaction to process, is met with a void. And the human brain abhors a vacuum. Into this void, her own thoughts begin to echo. Without your voice to react to, the only voice left is her own, replaying her actions, questioning her motives. "Why isn't he fighting for me?" quickly morphs into, "Did I make a mistake?" The absence of your validation forces her to seek it internally, and if her actions were unjust, she will find none. This is the beginning of the internal spiral. Your silence becomes a mirror, and in it, she is forced to see not your weakness, but the consequences of her own choices. Seneca, in his Letters from a Stoic, speaks frequently about the power of restraint. He advised his friend Lucilius to practice self-control not just in action, but in reaction. He writes, "True happiness is to enjoy the present, without anxious dependence upon the future." When you react emotionally to her departure, you are demonstrating an anxious dependence on her. Your happiness is still tethered to her actions. But when you respond with a calm, controlled silence, you are making a powerful statement: "My peace is not in your hands. It never was." Consider this fictional, yet deeply resonant, narrative. Imagine a man named Thomas. For 2 years, he devoted himself to a relationship. He was the dependable partner, the emotional anchor, the constant presence. His partner, Elena, grew comfortable, then complacent, and finally, distant. She ended things with a vague, half-hearted explanation, expecting the tears and the chase that had followed their previous minor disputes. But this time, Thomas did something different. He simply listened, nodded, and said, "I understand. I wish you well." And then, silence. Days turned into a week. Elena checked her phone. Nothing. She expected an angry email or a late-night call. Nothing. She posted a photo of herself out with friends, a subtle bait. Thomas didn't view her story. He had not blocked her, he had simply become a ghost. His digital and emotional footprint had vanished from her life. Elena's initial relief at an easy breakup began to curdle into confusion, then anxiety. Her friends asked, "Have you heard from him?" and the shame of saying no began to build. The power dynamic had been inverted. The one who held the power to leave was now powerless to elicit a response. Thomas wasn't playing a game. He had enrolled in a coding boot camp. He was at the gym at 6 a.m. He was reconnecting with old friends. He had taken all the energy he had poured into her and reinvested it into the one project he could control, himself. His silence was not an absence of activity, it was a reallocation of it. The message it sent was not, "I am hurt." The message was, "You are no longer a factor in my equation." And there is nothing that dismantles a person's ego more effectively than being rendered irrelevant. This is the very essence of Stoic silence. It is not about ignoring the other person. It is about focusing with ferocious intensity on yourself. It is a strategic decision to stop watering a dead plant and to start cultivating your own garden. The beauty of this path is that it is incorruptible. If your motive is to get her back, your silence will eventually break. You will crack. You will send that checking in text, and the entire illusion of your strength will crumble. But if your motive is to reclaim your own life, your silence will hold, because it is no longer about her. It is about your principles. You are choosing dignity over desperation. You are choosing self-respect over the need for her approval. Your silence screams that her access to your inner world was a privilege, not a right, and that privilege has been revoked. Let her sit in that quiet room you have created. Let her feel the chill. In time, the echo of her own actions will become the only sound she hears. And that is a conversation she must have with herself, alone. 2. The dichotomy of control, reclaiming your mental battlefield. At the very heart of Stoic philosophy lies a principle so simple in its declaration, yet so profound in its application that mastering it is the key to all inner peace and personal power. It is the dichotomy of control, most famously articulated by the freed slave and revered teacher, Epictetus. He stated it plainly in his Enchiridion: some things are in our control and others not. Things in our control are opinion, pursuit, desire, aversion, and, in a word, whatever are our own actions. Things not in our control are body, property, reputation, command, and, in one word, whatever are not our own actions. Now, let this sink in, not as an abstract philosophical concept, but as the most practical tool you will ever wield in the aftermath of a breakup. Your mind, right now, is a battlefield. And for too long, you have been fighting on the wrong front, wasting your precious resources on terrain you can never conquer. Let's conduct an audit of your mental energy over the past week. How many hours have you spent replaying conversations, trying to decipher hidden meanings? How much focus have you lost scrolling through her social media, looking for clues about her new life, feeling a jolt of pain with every picture? How much time have you wasted fantasizing about a different outcome, composing imaginary speeches you'll give her, or simply drowning in the why of it all? All of this, her thoughts, her feelings, her actions, her social media, the past itself, lies firmly in the category of things not in your control. Every ounce of energy you expend on these things is not just wasted, it is a voluntary surrender of your own power. You are, in effect, allowing your inner peace to be dictated by a person who is no longer a part of your life. You are handing the keys to your emotional state to someone who has already walked out the door. The Stoic path demands a radical, strategic withdrawal from this unwinnable war. It is time to pull your troops back to the only territory you can truly command, the citadel of your own mind. What, then, is within your control? Your judgments about what has happened. Your decision to replay the past or to focus on the present. Your choice to view her rejection as a reflection of your inadequacy or as a simple, objective event, a choice she made for her own reasons. Your actions today: will you go to the gym or will you lie in bed? Will you read a book or will you stare at your phone? Your response to the pain: will you let it define you, or will you let it refine you? This is where the real work begins. The original script advised you to stop replaying the past. This is the practical application of the dichotomy of control. Replaying the past is a choice. It is an act of assent, a core Stoic concept. You are agreeing with the impression that dwelling on these memories is a useful or necessary activity. The Stoic trains himself to challenge these impressions. When the memory of her smile surfaces, you can choose to follow it down a rabbit hole of sorrow, or you can say to it, you are just an impression, and not at all the thing you claim to represent, as Epictetus would advise. You acknowledge it, and then you deliberately redirect your focus to what is in front of you, to a task within your control. Let's make this brutally practical with an exercise. Take out a piece of paper or open a new document. Create 2 columns. Label the left column outside my control and the right column within my control. Under the left column, list every single thing related to this breakup that has been consuming your thoughts. Why she left. What she is doing now. Who she is with. Whether she regrets it. The things I should have said. The fact that she posts happy pictures. Now, look at that list. This is your energy leak. This is the source of your suffering. Under the right column, list the corresponding actions and thoughts that are 100% within your power. My decision to stop checking her social media. My choice to focus on my work for the next hour. My action of going to the gym after work. My judgment that my worth is not determined by her opinion. My commitment to reading 10 pages of a philosophy book tonight. My decision to embrace my pain as fuel for growth, not as an excuse for stagnation. This is not just a list. This is your new battle plan. Your life's mission, starting this very second, is to starve the left column and feed the right one. Every time you catch your mind drifting to the left, you consciously and deliberately pull it back to the right. It will be difficult at first. The habit of dwelling is strong. But every time you succeed, you are building a new mental muscle. The script says, your value didn't die with her love. This is the ultimate reclamation of your inner territory. Her love, her opinion, her validation, these are external things. The Stoics would call them preferred indifference. It would be nice to have them, but our core well-being, our virtue, does not depend on them. Your value as a man, your integrity, your resilience, your capacity for reason, your discipline, this is your true property. And no one can take this from you unless you allow them to. When she left, she did not take your worth with her. She simply removed her validation of it. And if you have been relying on her validation to feel worthy, then yes, you will feel a collapse. But this collapse is a gift. It reveals a structural weakness in your own foundation. It shows you that you built your house on someone else's land. Now, you rebuild. You build on your own land, the land of your own actions, your own principles, your own character. You become the source of your own validation. When you complete a difficult workout, you don't need her to say, "I'm proud of you." You feel the pride in the burn of your muscles and the sweat on your brow. You are proud of yourself. When you finish a challenging project at work, you don't need her praise. You know the value of the work you put in. This is the liberation that the dichotomy of control offers. You stop being a leaf blown about by the winds of external events and become the mountain that stands firm, watching the winds and the clouds pass by, unmoved. Her leaving was a storm. It was violent, it was painful. But it does not have the power to erode the mountain. The storm will pass. The question is, will you still be standing? If you live by this principle, the answer is an unequivocal yes. 3. The end of performance, from savior to sovereign. There is a subtle and seductive trap that many men fall into after being left, a fantasy dressed in the noble robes of love and compassion. It is the savior complex. You tell yourself, she's just lost, or she's going through a hard time, or if only I could fix her broken parts, she would see how much I love her. You imagine yourself as the valiant knight, ready to charge back into her chaos and rescue her from herself. Let's dismantle this fantasy with the cold, hard logic of Stoicism. This impulse is not born of love. It is born of ego. The desire to save her is fundamentally a desire to prove your own worth. It is a desperate attempt to demonstrate that you possess a value she overlooked. If I can fix her, your ego whispers, then her leaving was a mistake. If I can heal her wounds, then I am indispensable. It reframes her departure not as a rejection of you, but as a cry for help that only you can answer. It is a performance, and you are auditioning for a role that is no longer available. The original script was blunt: you are not her savior. This is not a call to be heartless. It is a call to be principled. The Stoic virtue of justice is about giving each individual their due. What is due to her? The autonomy to live her own life and the responsibility to face the consequences of her own choices. What is due to you? Your own energy, your own focus, your own life. By constantly trying to manage her chaos, you are not only disrespecting her agency, treating her as a project to be fixed rather than a person who must grow, you are committing a grave injustice against yourself. You are sacrificing your own well-being on the altar of her instability. This is where the Stoic concept of apatheia becomes your shield. In modern terms, apathy suggests a lack of caring. But for the Stoics, apatheia meant something far more powerful, a state of being undisturbed by irrational passions and external turmoil. It is not about becoming a cold, unfeeling robot. It is about achieving a state of tranquil control where your actions are guided by reason, not by the turbulent emotions of hope, fear, or a desperate need to be needed. This state of rational indifference is the bedrock of true attraction. When you are caught in the savior role, you are needy. Your energy is pleading, supplicating. You are constantly offering solutions, checking in, trying to manage her feelings. This is energetically repulsive. It signals that your sense of purpose is contingent on her problems. But when you adopt a stance of apatheia, when you become genuinely indifferent to her chaos, your entire energetic signature changes. Indifference, in this context, is not bitterness. It is not a performance of, "I don't care," while you secretly refresh her profile. It is a deep, quiet, fundamental understanding that her life is her responsibility, and yours is yours. You are no longer orbiting her drama. You are the sun in your own solar system, and your gravity is generated by your own purpose. And nothing pulls a person back with more force than realizing they have lost their gravitational pull on someone they thought they could keep in their orbit forever. Let's create a narrative to illustrate this. Meet David. His girlfriend, Sarah, was a whirlwind of emotion, prone to drama, financially irresponsible, and constantly seeking validation. David loved her and took on the role of her savior. He paid her debts, talked her through her anxieties, and celebrated her small victories as if they were his own. When she inevitably left him for someone who offered more excitement, David was devastated. His first instinct was to continue the performance. He texted her, "I'm worried about you, and let me know if you need anything." He was trying to maintain his role as her safety net, hoping she would realize she couldn't live without it. Then, he stumbled upon the writings of Marcus Aurelius. One line struck him: "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." David realized his attempts to save Sarah were a form of revenge, an attempt to make her regret her decision by proving his own indispensability. He decided to try a different path. He implemented a strict policy of non-intervention. When she texted him with a new crisis, he replied with a polite but firm, "I'm sorry to hear that, but I'm confident you'll figure it out." He stopped offering advice. He stopped being her emotional dumping ground. He started pouring that saved energy into his own life. He took a course on financial management, the very skill he wished she had. He started a small side business. He reconnected with his friends. He was no longer David, Sarah's fixer. He was David, the architect of his own life. Months later, Sarah circled back, her new relationship having imploded as expected. She came to him looking for the old safety net. But the man she found was different. He was calm, focused, and his time was valuable. He listened politely but offered no solutions. He was not cold, but he was separate. His indifference was not an act, it was a fact. And seeing this new, self-contained, sovereign man, she felt a sense of loss far deeper than he had ever felt when she left. He had not only survived without her, he had thrived. He no longer needed to be her savior, and in that, he had become his own. Now, it is your turn to practice this. We will conduct an indifference audit. For the next 30 days, commit to the following. No proactive contact, you will not initiate any conversation. No performance posts, you will not post anything on social media with the hidden intention of getting her attention. No rescue operations, if she reaches out with a problem, your response will be polite, brief, and non-committal. You will not offer advice or emotional support. You will gently redirect the responsibility back to her. No spying, you will cease all monitoring of her social media life. Mute her, unfollow her if you must. Her life is no longer your concern. This is not a 30-day tactic. This is a 30-day training program to permanently rewire your brain. You are training yourself to stop performing. You are abdicating the role of savior and ascending to the throne of your own life. You are becoming a sovereign. And a sovereign does not beg for a place in someone else's broken kingdom, he builds his own. 4. The Forge of Solitude, Rebuilding in the Shadows. Now we arrive at the heart of the matter, the crucible where the real transformation occurs. The previous steps were about cessation, stopping the bleeding, ceasing the performance, withdrawing your energy from the external world. This step is about creation. It is about what you do with that reclaimed silence and solitude. This is where you don't just disappear, you disappear into the work. You vanish into the forge. The world sees your silence and may interpret it as passivity or weakness. Let them. The most formidable work is always done in the shadows, away from the prying eyes of an audience, free from the need for applause or validation. While she might be out there, posting stories to project an image of a life unbothered, you are engaged in a far more profound and permanent endeavor. You are rebuilding your very soul, brick by relentless brick. The Stoics had a practice called ascesis, which translates to training or discipline. It is the idea that philosophy is not something you just read, it is something you live, practice, and embody through rigorous daily effort. The breakup, an involuntary hardship, now becomes your voluntary training ground. You did not choose this pain, but you can, and you will, choose how you use it. You will transmute the raw, chaotic energy of heartbreak into the focused, disciplined fire of self-creation. This rebuilding process is not random. It is a strategic, multi-front war waged on the mediocrity that allowed your foundation to be weak in the first place. We will focus on 4 key domains. 1. The body, the armor of discipline. Your body is the physical vessel of your mind and spirit. A weak body houses a weak resolve. The Stoics understood this intrinsic link. They believed in physical hardship not for the sake of vanity, but as a direct way to train the will. When your alarm goes off at 5 a.m. and every fiber of your being screams for the comfort of the covers, getting up and putting on your running shoes is your first victory of the day. It is a declaration that your principles, not your feelings, are in command. Do not hit the weights to build a revenge body. This is still a performance for her. You hit the weights because the iron is honest. It does not care about your feelings or your broken heart. It only responds to effort and consistency. With every rep you push through the burn, you are teaching yourself to endure discomfort. You are forging resilience in your very muscle fibers. This physical discipline will translate directly into mental and emotional discipline. The man who can command his body in the gym is better equipped to command his mind in the chaos of life. Treat your workouts as a sacred ritual, a daily practice of mastering the self. 2. The mind, the sharpening of the blade. A man's mind is his ultimate weapon. After a breakup, it is easy to let it grow dull, consumed by the rust of regret and the endless loop of painful memories. Your mission now is to sharpen it to a razor's edge. This is the time to starve your distractions and feed your intellect. Cease the mindless scrolling that numbs the pain and replace it with deliberate reading. Do not just read anything, read what fortifies the soul. Dive into the primary Stoic texts, Marcus Aurelius's Meditations, Seneca's Letters, Epictetus's Discourses. These are not just books, they are training manuals for the mind. Let their wisdom wash over you, challenge your perspectives, and provide you with a new operating system for life. Beyond philosophy, learn a new, hard skill. It could be coding, a foreign language, a musical instrument, or the art of public speaking. Choose something that demands focus and discipline. The process of learning something difficult rewires your brain. It creates new neural pathways and proves to you that you are still capable of growth. This pursuit is not about acquiring a new certificate to show off, it is about the internal victory of mastering a new domain. It is a testament to your own neuroplasticity, your ability to change and evolve. 3. The purpose, the reignition of the inner fire. A relationship can often become a man's purpose by default. When it is gone, he feels adrift, purposeless. Now is the time to reconnect with your telos, your ultimate aim as a man, independent of any one person. Marcus Aurelius, in the quiet of his pre-dawn tent, would often ask himself why he was rising. His answer was not for power or for glory, but to do the work of a human being. What is your work? What is the duty that calls to you? It might be excelling in your career, building a business, creating art, or serving your community. Your purpose is the why that will get you out of bed when motivation fails. Spend time in silent contemplation or journaling, asking yourself the hard questions. What truly matters to me? What impact do I want to leave on the world? What are my core values? When you align your daily actions with a purpose that is larger than your pain, the pain itself begins to shrink in significance. It becomes what it is, a part of your story, but not the whole story. You are no longer the man who was left, you are the man who is building an empire, and the breakup was merely the catalyst that cleared the land for construction. 4. The soul, the cultivation of inner stillness. This entire process of rebuilding must be grounded in a practice of inner stillness. This is your forge. Whether it is through meditation, prayer, or simply spending time in nature, you must create a daily space where you can disconnect from the noise and connect with your inner self. It is in this stillness that the lessons are integrated, and the growth solidifies. This is not about an absence of thought. It is about observing your thoughts without being controlled by them. You will see the waves of sadness, anger, and loneliness rise. Instead of being swept away by them, you learn to sit on the shore and watch them, knowing that they are temporary weather patterns in the vast sky of your consciousness. This period of rebuilding in the shadows is the most critical phase. It is difficult, it is lonely, and there will be no external applause. But the man who emerges from this forge is not the same one who entered it. He is calmer, stronger, more focused, and grounded in a purpose that cannot be shaken by the whims of another person. He did not perform his transformation, he embodied it. And when he finally steps out of the shadows, his very presence will be undeniable. He will not need to speak of his journey. The results will speak for themselves, with the silent, formidable power of a finely forged blade. 5. The inevitable return and the fallacy of closure. After the silence, after the forge, after you have poured your pain, energy, and focus into the grand project of your own reconstruction, something predictable, almost inevitable, happens. They circle back. It may not be tomorrow, or next month, but the pattern is as old as time. The "I miss you" text that arrives late on a Tuesday night. The "just checking in" email. The sudden view on a social media story after months of silence. The "I was just thinking about you." Do not mistake this for a sign from the universe. It is not fate. It is not even necessarily a genuine change of heart. It is the predictable consequence of the power vacuum you created. Her life, which she imagined would be a thrilling new chapter, may not have delivered on its promise. The grass on the other side may have been astroturf. The new person may have revealed their flaws. And in her moments of quiet dissatisfaction, her mind will drift back to what was stable, what was real. It will drift back to you. She will remember not the arguments, but your loyalty. Not the flaws she magnified to justify her exit, but the safety and consistency you provided. She will become curious about the man who did not break, the man who did not chase, the man who simply vanished and went quiet. This return is not your victory. It is the final exam of your Stoic training. All the work you have done in the shadows, the discipline, the emotional mastery, the forging of a new purpose, has been in preparation for this moment. The untrained man sees this return as the ultimate validation. Aha! She realized her mistake. I've won. He lets his ego take the wheel, eagerly responding, re-engaging, and often, falling right back into the same dysfunctional pattern, undoing months of hard work in a single moment of weakness. But you are not that man. You have been in the forge. You understand that her return is not about you, it is about her. It is about her unease, her regret, her curiosity, her ego. It is a test of your new foundation. Will you respond from a place of old emotional habits, or from a place of new, unshakable principles? This brings us to the final, great fallacy, the myth of closure. Many men believe they need one last conversation, one final explanation, to be able to move on. They crave a meeting where she admits her faults, apologizes for the pain, and gives a neat, tidy reason for why everything fell apart. They believe this conversation will be a key that unlocks the prison of their pain. This is an illusion. As the original script stated, you never needed closure. Closure is not a gift that someone else can give you. It is a decision you make. It is an internal act of accepting reality as it is, not as you wish it were. It is the embodiment of the Stoic concept of amor fati, the love of one's fate. You do not just tolerate what happened, you accept it, and perhaps even embrace it, as a necessary part of your journey. The breakup was not an obstacle to your path, it was the path. It was the catalyst that forced you into the forge, the fire that burned away your weaknesses and revealed your strength. Why would you need an apology for the event that triggered your own rebirth? Her silence was the closure. Her actions were the closure. Her departure was the loudest, clearest, and most definitive closure you could ever ask for. You do not need her words to ratify what her behavior already made plain. So, when that inevitable text arrives, how do you respond? You have a choice. You can ignore it, which is a powerful statement in itself. Or you can respond as a Stoic would, with politeness, brevity, and detachment. Hey, I was just thinking about you. Hope you're doing well. The old you, I've been thinking about you too. I miss you. Can we talk? The Stoic you, all is well here. I wish you the same. Your goal is not to be cruel. It is to be clear. It is to protect the peace you have fought so hard to build. The ultimate power is not in seeing her regret, it is in being indifferent to it. Your new life, the one you have forged in the silence, is the only closure you will ever need. You have become the author of your own story, and the narrative no longer requires her as a character. You have moved on, not because you forgot the past, but because you have built a future that is infinitely more compelling. Conclusion, the echo of your becoming. We have journeyed together through the desolate landscape of heartbreak and into the disciplined forge of Stoic reconstruction. We began with a simple, yet radical, premise, that in the face of being left, the most powerful move is to make no move at all. It is to embrace a silence so profound that it inverts the very laws of emotional gravity, pulling the focus away from the one who left and back to the one who remains, you. This path was never about her. Her guilt, her regret, her eventual return, these are but the predictable echoes in the void she created. They are the side effects of her choices, not the objective of yours. The true purpose of this journey, the Stoic path of silent rebuilding, has always been the reclamation of your own sovereignty. You have learned that silence, when wielded with intention, is not an absence but a presence, the presence of a man who respects himself too much to beg for a place in a story where he is not valued. You have learned to apply the dichotomy of control, withdrawing your precious mental and emotional resources from the unwinnable battles of the past and the opinions of others, and reinvesting them into the one territory you command, your own mind, your own actions, your own character. You have dismantled the ego-driven fantasy of the savior, recognizing that true strength lies not in fixing others, but in fortifying yourself. You have understood that your value is not a fragile thing to be granted or revoked by another, but an intrinsic quality that you cultivate through your own virtue and discipline. Most importantly, you have embraced the solitude of the forge. You have done the work in the shadows, away from the need for validation, transforming the raw material of your pain into the sharpened steel of a new self. The man who emerges from this process does not need to announce his arrival. His composure, his focus, his quiet strength, his very being is the announcement. The journey does not end here. This is not a final destination, but the adoption of a new way of living. It is a commitment to a life guided by reason over reaction, principle over passion, and internal validation over external applause. You are no longer a character in someone else's drama. You are the author, the director, and the lead in your own epic. The world is loud. It will always try to pull you into its chaos. But you now possess the tools to remain the calm center of your own universe. Your silence was never a punishment for her, it was a sanctuary for you. It was the space you needed to grow. And the man you have become in that space is the greatest victory of all. You didn't just survive the storm. You learned to be the storm. A quiet, focused, unstoppable force of nature, moving with purpose toward the life you were always meant to build. Her guilt is her story to live with. Your peace is your reality to command. If this message has resonated with you, if you feel that spark of recognition, that call to a higher, stronger version of yourself, then your journey with us is just beginning. This is more than just a video. It is a community of men who are choosing discipline over distraction, strength over submission, and purpose over pain. First, hit the like button below. It's a small click, but it's a powerful declaration. It's you telling yourself, and the world, I am ready to reclaim my power. It also tells the algorithm that this is a message worth spreading to other men who need to hear it. Second, subscribe to BAudio and turn on all notifications. We are committed to bringing you unfiltered Stoic wisdom for the modern man. No fluff, no hollow platitudes, just actionable philosophy to help you build a life of resilience, purpose, and unshakable inner peace. Don't miss the next chapter in your training. Finally, and most importantly, go to the comments section and share your story. We want to hear from you. You can start by commenting, "My silence is my strength." Then, tell us, which part of this journey are you on right now? Are you just beginning the silence? Are you in the forge, rebuilding? Or have you faced the inevitable return? Your story is a testament to your strength, and it could be the very thing another brother needs to read today to keep going. We read the comments. We build this community together. Welcome to the path.